Welcome to Agent From Within, the podcast that helps agents get out of their own way, listens to regular agent stories, not just all the top producers. Yes, we'll have top producers, but it's also a fully designed coaching system built here for you to get coaching, be inspired, be connected, but most of all, get yourself out of your own way. There's a whole lot more than just making a ton of money as an agent. If you don't know how to build a business to serve your life, you're gonna run around with your chasing your tail, feast and famine. Guess what, guys? Let's build a business with purpose. Agent From Within is here to serve. Cheers. We now have on deck Toby Grooms. Now, where is Toby from? You know what? I'll get him on here and talk. So, Toby, you hear me? I kind of see you. Yeah, good. Okay, well, let's just jump right in, guys. We're gonna bring in Toby Grooms, add to the stream. Boom.
Boom. All right.
7 years in the biz from Boston, Massachusetts. How do you say it? My brain is Massachusetts. How's it going, Toby? Nice to meet you, man.
I'm good, and you? It's going good. I can't complain. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
You know what? It's so good to have you, man. Like I was saying, I don't know if you saw the intro, but since there's some people tune in and tune out, I'll just kind of repeat some of the stuff as I intro. It's interesting. A lot of times we see agents get interviewed for their big successes, and it's very inspiring. But it creates and I'm not saying that's okay. Like, I'm saying let's talk about big successes. But the thing is, what I'm realizing is, when I'm working with people, I realize there's such a comparison thing where people think that all these agents are just killing it, and they're not. And I realize there's a side effect to only celebrating the top 100, the top 1%. And so, like, I've been there. My team is there. The thing is, though, I think, what about just regular agents? The other 90% of the agents, I'm thinking, let's tell their stories. Let's talk about real life of real estate. So that's kind of the idea here. And the idea, Toby, is that I'm doing this for the first time because I'm not scared to fail. I think it's just a matter of figuring out how it works. So far, so good. So I'm glad to meet you, man. Why don't you introduce yourself? I know it's on the screen, but tell us where you're from, how long you've been in the business, and maybe just introduce yourself a little bit, if that's okay.
Sure. My name is Toby Grooms. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been in real estate for just over 7 years now. This past year, I opened up my own brokerage, the Massic Group, and I have a property management company, Massic Properties. So, it's just been me right now, looking on recruiting and been bringing people on to help with. So I'm not running around like the hamster on the wheel, spinning my brain trying to keep up with everything, because it's easy to forget stuff, and you need to put systems and processes in place.
You got it, man.
Goals, time management, and so forth.
And so let's go right into this. Let's not beat around the bush. Tell me some advice. Let's give some Toby Groom advice. So we're talking about guys that are kind of like you. Mm-hmm. So first of all, describe the person that you'd want to give advice to and what you would say to them.
So, I think someone who's just starting out or just getting into the business, don't focus on the money, because that's going to come. When you're real and genuine, you're going to get business, you're going to get people, you're going to get referrals, but you have to be true and honest to yourself, have integrity, make sure you're dealing with people on the up and up, and stay focused. It's not easy. It's easy to give up in this game. You see so many people who say, oh, I'm going to get my real estate license because of the money. They're looking at the money, looking at the HGTV shows and all the DIYs and all that stuff, and they think that's the way it is, but it's not like that. They don't know what you did to get to that closing table.
Totally.
Or like near the end when you're coming down to the closing and someone purchased something, or their credit score changed, and the hoops and the cartwheels we got to do to keep everybody happy.
They don't know. They don't know. Exactly. I love that you're saying this, because that's real, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, and for me, my thing's just been really focusing over the last, because I opened up my brokerage about 10, almost 11 months now. So coming up on a year, and it's just really putting systems, processes from the advertising. Yeah. What am I going to do? Try to stick with it and stay focused, and try to offset some of the things and hire people who can help me with the marketing, who can help me with the design. Some people can do some administrative stuff, bringing the right folks on, people that you can work with, and not necessarily someone, some people say, I want someone like me. Well, you don't necessarily want someone like you. Because
good advice, man. That's great advice. And know what's funny? We hire ourselves, whether we like it or not. We usually hire ourselves, and that's a tricky thing to get around. That's great. Yeah, you got to hire the right skill set and the right person. You got to match.
Exactly.
But you definitely don't want to hire yourself. You don't need more of you.
Yeah, we don't need any yes people. We want people who are going to push back and help us try to see it from a different perspective and different point of view.
100%, man. I'm just texting Deb. I'm running things on this marathon for just
sure, no problem.
Deb's my assistant. She's my right hand. Talking about hiring someone. Deb is very much introverted. She crushes admin, and she knows how to handle me. And so it's amazing when you get the right team member. That's the hack that I found. Yeah. I think what you're saying, the hack is the right person can 10x you bigger than any extra work you can put in.
Exactly.
And that's a great thing for people to be hearing this. So Lau, you said most people look, let's say they look at you and they're like 7 years in the business, starting his own brokerage. What did you have to do to get there? Like, what did you have to do to get to that place where you actually you're sound like a business owner now? So it's a massive step forward. Most guys are just grinders. And so you sound like you're thinking in the right way. And I think that's huge. How did you get there? What are some of the things that you've had to overcome?
So it's just really focus, determination, and get out of my own way, and learn and try to surround myself with the right people. I've worked with some great brokerages, had the opportunity to work with some great minds and taking every little piece from them and try to put some of those into perspective. Like I had my broker's license for over 3 years before I decided to make the jump in the leap. And, I had some people who would be like past clients who were like, oh, you can go out and make the money, but I wasn't ready. I wanted to make sure that I was comfortable and had the skill sets that, am I going to know everything? No, but just making sure that I knew enough that I could maintain or fake it till I make it, as they say, right? So to maintain it, kind of keep it going and sustain it. I want to be here 5, 6, 10 years from now. I don't want to be 1 year and then I go work for whatever company. I'm not going to say any company because some people that get offended, but whatever company or whatever. I still get calls now from people who will call me and say, oh, we want you to come, but I want to make this happen. And that's my determination. I set forth, I want to make this happen.
So I think you raise a really good a conversation point here, Toby. It's the way I describe it, and just because that's how I process it, is long game and short game. And I think a lot of real estate agents are jumping in and because they need the check so bad, right? They just focus solely on getting that sale, and they don't actually think about the long game of lasting. Like I remember speaking at this one event and I asked everyone, I said, how many follow-ups have you missed in the last year? And most people are like 10 to 50 or whatever. And so that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars just by not following up. And it's like this massive, massive hole, as I don't really see anyone going, how do I keep a client for 20 years? And it's like the long game versus the short game. It's like usually you're like showing properties, doing inspections, a thank you gift at closing, maybe one gift, maybe, and then you maybe spam them for a while. But I always think, like, I love that you're saying, like, you want to last the test of time, and it's a different thinking. You know what I mean? How would you describe that? Is that kind of what you're alluding to, is when you talk about the long game? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, each client, you want to hopefully treat them like family, like you become family. You're helping them make one of the biggest purchases in their lifetime. Some people, you have some investors that you work with and continue to grow and build on that relationship. And over time, some people, it might be a one investment, but you're letting them know that you're real and you're helping them make a difference and you want them to be happy. I could say, buy this house. This is the one that I think you should have, but I don't just want the money. I want you to be happy. I don't want you to go in, get your house, and you're like, that damn Toby, he had me buy this freaking house. I have so many problems. If it takes 1 week, we go out and I see a showing, or if it takes, unfortunately, 6 months, because it's happened, then I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not going to force you to sign anything.
That's mindset.
Yeah.
Like, you're going into the game going, I'll do 150 showings. I don't care. I love that. I think that's such a good skill set, man. Like, anyone that works on your team, if that's the skill I'd be looking for, because it's almost the guy that says, you know what, eventually we get paid.
Yeah.
It's eventually, but like, I think if you have that mindset, they'll stay with you. It's not like, I think there's a transaction style real estate agent and then a relationship style real estate agent.
Sure.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, then knowing, sometimes we're not all meant to work together. I want your money, but I don't need your money. I don't need
Love
the
that, man.
aggravation. I don't need the headache. And there have been some deals where I've walked away from and said, look, I think maybe such and such could be better for you, or you need to go in a different direction because this isn't working.
That takes confidence, man.
Yeah,
For real. For real. And you know what that is? That's a sign of self-worth.
sure.
You know what I mean? It's almost like you're getting your ass kicked in this whole deal, and you're like, I don't like to get my ass kicked. And
Yeah.
and just to understand that, that's really cool. Let's talk about something a little bit deeper. How deep can we go today, Toby? Are we wide open?
We're wide open, as deep as you want.
That's right, man. The people that are not on the show are usually the people that aren't willing to talk real. Because we talk surface, it's just going to be a commercial. If we get real, people will be inspired, right? And I think sounds like you're a people first kind of guy, and I love that. And if we can inspire someone, that feels good. So let's talk about this. What does your real estate career cost you? Not financially, okay? Not financially. We're talking about personally.
Mm-hmm.
What does it cost you?
So, I mean, sometimes you do have to make sacrifices, right? You have to, the time, the dedication, honing your skills. You know, you got to go in. You don't want to be a part cookie cutter, right? So you have to go in and make time. Like, so I've been an agent for just over 7 years, but like the first maybe 3, I wasn't as focused and going full time. So maybe 3.5, and then I made sure that I make the dedication to the craft to become a better agent / broker, and making sure that I'm fulfilling the needs of my clients. You know, so sometimes it's you know, you get home, you want to relax, get home and say, okay, it's 6 o'clock, but then you're still midnight sending a text, sending an email, making sure that you follow up on something from the day, or getting ready for the next day. You know, so it's just making sure that you have the dedication, but you have to make time for yourself. You know, and right now that's where I'm at. Just try to set the goals, make time for myself. I mean, I started back going to the gym, and I try to do that in the morning to give myself that peace of mind, and then set expectations, right? You got to let your clients know what are the expectations and be realistic. Don't tell somebody you're going to call them back or get back to them at 11:30 when you know realistically it's going to be 2:30. You know, let them know that I think they'll respect you more if you do that.
So setting boundaries is so. Let's talk about energy then. Like I think a lot of people burn out hard, and they lose relationships because they do get that obsession with service. And I was kind of one of those people. I remember my wife sitting me down and says, I'm sick of chasing you around. Like, she wanted to leave me. That's why this is why it's kind of deeper meaning for me. Cause I'm like, I changed my life. I changed it. I want to be married. I want my family. I want my kids to be pumped about having a dad. And that's, and when you're chasing, whether it's real estate or anything, the chasing, there's a cost. And I just want to get people to think, like you said, like, what can we do to, I look at it as energy. Like I was saying to Trent, the last guy, it's like, if you wake up in the morning and you got 100%, 110% energy, you're feeling great. You can't be stopped. Like, your confidence is higher than ever when you're full energy. But when you're at half energy, so you're carrying a lot of stuff in your head, you're not happy, or you've got relationship stuff, like the real stuff that weighs us down. When we're at 50% and we hit the ground running, how good are we? Yeah. You know, I think that we talk about tactics so much, but it's like, how do we maintain that energy? How do we create energy? And I think it's an inner game. That's my opinion anyways, but it's like what you were saying, the challenge of like serving the clients and then also balancing what you want. So how are you solving that?
Just trying to really set boundaries and schedules, honestly. You know, set time aside for family time, maybe taking my mom to the doctor's appointment or so forth, you know, spending some time with my family, my daughter, my girlfriend, and so forth, and things like that. Really just making time for myself. I mean, over the last couple of months, I think I've taken more time to try to set boundaries for myself, maybe even if it's just a block of 4 hours, and making sure, you know, certain days now, I might not do showings, where before I run out anytime. Like, yeah, I can see it. But if someone calls you and say, look, today's not a good day, I'm booked up, let's do Friday or Saturday. What's your schedule look like then? Just trying to be realistic and set clear boundaries and expectations for them. I'm here for you, but this is what I can do. How can we meet in the middle and find a common ground?
Yeah, I love that. And I think about something, it's almost like, who's the client that wouldn't wait a couple days for me? Like, I think, who is that? So then I think, how do we create an amazing connection? And there's 100 ways, we don't have to get into it, but then I think about to assist with boundaries. Like, for example, let's say, do you have, like, let's say a family member of yours, let's just say your mom, she wants to buy a house, right? She calls you, goes, I want to do showings. It'd be so easy to be like, well, I'm busy today. Let's go Thursday.
Yeah.
But because the relationship was established. And that's the thing, right? So I think we focus on service so much that we forget that once you're tied emotionally, and like you said, we make them family. That's where sometimes come with a gift or be thoughtful, send them a nice note, have a thank you, something to trigger the emotions. Because I think when we connect, then people are so easy, right? It's just that we try to perform out of the gate. And I feel like you're nailing it. It's that boundaries, but then how do you do the boundaries, right? And then almost like you don't need boundaries with your mom. She'll just wait till you're ready. So it's almost like, how do we build that relationship so we don't have to worry that we're all stressed out that they're going to leave us all the time, that the client's going to leave us. I think that's a conversation that we're not having much. I don't see like the connection.
And that goes to where, you kind of set expectations, and then you try to put systems in place. So if you're not available, if you're able to maybe work with the listing agent, some listing agents, you got to be there for the showing to get the deal. I mean, we're all going to get paid to make money. Stop being greedy, and we work realistic or have proper plans where someone's able to take someone out for you if you're not available. So it goes back to the systems and try to figure things out and work it out logistically that way.
100%. Yeah. Cause if you're going to take away time from you, you're going to have to still do the job. That's the business owner, right? So we're kind of getting near kind of closing here. We could be talking for an hour. I got lots of questions for you, Toby. I'd like to get to know you a little bit longer. I knew that'd be a little bit tighter, but I got a little bit of overflow if I have to, right? So let me say here, if you were to, I would say if you have any questions, two things. You have a question for me? Great. If not, is there anything you want to just absolutely make sure you get out to the airways? So question or just something you want to say. This is your time.
Massic Group is growing, brokerage in Boston, Mass. It's my first podcast. I was a little nervous coming on. I want to thank you for having me. I don't have any questions, but I hope I did okay. Right?
You know what? People choose people they like.
Yeah.
And you're a super likable guy, Toby, for real. Like there's just no question there. I feel like when someone connects with people, it's not because of like, it's like, how do we get chosen? Like if someone wants to join your team, it's because they like you. You got a good heart.
Exactly.
And the people that don't like you, they're definitely not people that you want on your team. You know what I mean? And so if people are joining you, it's because they like you. I think a lot of times we think about like pricing homes. We get so technical. We get so like, we got to have all the knowledge and all the stats. But you know what, man? You walk in there, they like you, they list with you. Yeah, and then I think about, you know what I mean? Like, I know you got to be an expert. But the thing is that we don't lead with expert. Like I'm the expert. No. You lead by going, I'm trustworthy.
Exactly.
And so I feel, you know what I mean? And I think that's the vibe I get from you, Toby.
Building that rapport with them as you go in and showing that you are knowledgeable about the area, and especially with today, because they're like, oh, I want a local expert. Well, you don't necessarily need a local expert with the marketing and the internet and everything else. You need someone who knows the systems, knows how to properly price your home, so it's not going to sit on the market for 90 days because you overpriced it by $75,000.
Yeah. Do you know what I like to say, Toby? It's really funny. I like to leave landmines. Like my team does all my sales. Now I don't do the sales. I just have the business running. But the thing is I like to do something like, so you want no local expert. I was like, here's the thing. How about this? You probably want someone that's willing to answer their phone, right? Why don't we just make some phone calls and call some of these agents and see who answers their phone? Because they could have the best marketing in the world, but if they haven't put the systems in place to get the text, phone, or email responded in 15 minutes, you don't have a converting system. You have a branding system. So you need someone to get the pen to the paper. And so what I do is I sell the voicemail. So what I do is I'm like, hey, so for example, a lot of agents will be like, they won't answer their phone. Well, I'll tell you, I'll answer my phone. What if it was a lead for you to get into your house? So I say, my voicemail even says, I will interrupt my meeting. If this is emergency, my voicemail turns to a text and I'll be able to. So if you see me looking at my phone, it's because I'm doing my job that you're going to hire me for. And so a lot of agents will miss showings. They won't book because a lot of times they don't have those systems. And my systems are all about making the sale versus just putting you everywhere. So that's an easier way to come at it going, how about response time? How about I answer my phone? How about when I don't answer my phone, I've got a system that I don't miss anything. These are the things that nobody sells at all in the CMA presentation or anything. They always say, like I've got the tools, but I'd be like, look, how about this? You can have $1 million of marketing, but if the guy on the other end doesn't answer the phone and doesn't do the text and doesn't email, doesn't have systems like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I like to separate myself on areas that nobody talks about, because they're like, who's this? Oh yeah. So it's a voicemail.
Yeah.
My voicemail's there to help them sell their house versus I'm going to put you on every single place. I've got exposure. I'm the biggest like all of that doesn't matter if you don't answer your phone.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny that you say that, because this past weekend I did a couple of showings, and one person, every platform, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, tried to reach them to get through. They weren't answering.
I know.
An open house I showed up. It was like in the rain, pouring in the rain, 11 o'clock, supposed to be the lines forming. I had to call the team leader to say, look, it's 15 past. You got a line building. Where's everybody? Where's anyone supposed to work an open house? He gave me the code. I opened the door for everybody, let them in.
So here's the thing, Toby. Those are the stories you bring into your meetings.
Yeah.
But you do. It's not a jab. It's a frustration about the industry. It's not a personal thing. So when we're talking to doing someone's choosing you, I'd say, let me just give you an example. A lot of guys are building out their brand, but they're not actually thinking of selling your home.
Yeah.
And those are two different thoughts. And so what you did is you separate yourself from a guy that's going to sell the home versus a guy that's just going to blast their name everywhere. And then you can even say, be like, the truth is, when you people blast your home everywhere, it gets them listings. So just realize the industry is like that. You'll get a lot more listings if you can get more listings. So a lot of times they're not actually thinking of selling your home. It's a second thought, because they're looking at marketing. And say if they were thinking of selling their home, they're going to think of how to answer their phone, how to get people into your house, how to get pen and paper quicker, how to have like all the different systems to sell your home. So I literally sell the actual systems that actually sell the homes. I don't do it anymore. My team does, but this is it's just thinking about getting chosen. And if you have to compete, like I just say, like the truth is, like here's the reality. And I'll probably get shit on because I'm live talking about this. But the truth is, how many times do every single agent says they do feedback, right? But what's interesting is, let's say you have a bunch of listings, you know all the people that went in. Let me flip that on its head. You go show 10 or 15 or 20 houses. Like, you know who does feedback.
Yeah.
It's probably 20% actually does the feedback because they're just so busy. Those are the things we talk about going, this is how I actually run my feedback system. I have an assistant that does the call. She sends it to you within 24 hours on a written report. The reality is that what people say they're not doing. So sometimes it's okay to expose that. Be like, are they doing feedback? I don't know, because I'm not getting phone calls. I think it's held them accountable.
Yeah.
It's not an attack or anything. It's like, look, but those are also areas that they can see, be like, oh, this guy thinks differently, right?
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with expertise. Like, oh, I'm an expert and stuff. And they just have to assume you are. But I think it's an interesting thought. Like, I'm thinking about, you're growing your team. And then we think about being chosen is a different conversation than being an expert.
Exactly. Showing how you set yourself apart from the industry.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just, I answer my phone.
That's true. Not everybody answers their phones, and some people, like you said, just want the listing to say I got listings, but is it moving? That's the question.
That's a good question.
That's sitting there 65, 70 days, you haven't moved it.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. You know what? I'm gonna throw another question at you here. What's the best marketing you've ever done? What's the one that you're like, let me brag about it? This one worked good. There's lots that work. What's yours?
Well, I'm an introvert by nature, and some people don't believe that. It's just the jobs that I've held over the years. But I'm really, using social media, Facebook Live, or I picked up a couple of buyers that way, where some people are like, oh, I didn't know you were in real estate. My mom and I are looking for a house. We'd love to use it. So
that's how it works.
Free advertising, free marketing, just putting myself out of there and getting out of my comfort zone.
That's beautiful. I love that. Getting out of your comfort zone. It's funny because live, if you're doing lives, it's very intimidating in some level, right? You can't edit it, you mess up, but know what that does? It makes people trust you. Because if you see the polished guy,
sure,
you can't trust that guy because we all know what we look like at home, even intuitively. Like we always, when we go out, we're looking the best we possibly can. We're not, you're saying nice things, but intuitively, I think we know if there's too much polish, you wonder what's behind the polish. And I think, but people don't realize the value of that live and being real. Like right now, man, me and you are live. This could train wreck in 2 minutes, but I think there's a trust in live.
Yeah. Trust me. I had the butterflies before I came on.
How you feeling now?
I'm fine, Eddie.
Okay. Good. Awesome. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Well, you know what, Toby, I think it's been really great getting to know you.
Same here.
Seriously, it's nice. The nice thing about doing this is my belief in my business and all the businesses I've coached and helped is one at a time, blow their minds, go deep in relationship. And I don't believe in taking over the world or a whole city. Like imagine if you could just have 100 raving fans, 100 friends, like it's all we need. So, and then what happens is then it goes 200, 300, 400, 500. Naturally, we always focus on too big. So when I think about interviewing you and other agents, all I'm thinking about is like, so great that this is a seed.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to know Toby, like I know Toby now, we connect now one at a time. Let's make some connections. And so that's how I look at it. I think, you know what, we'll probably know each other. Our paths are going to cross. Now every time I see you on social, I'm like, yeah, it's Toby. Every time you see me, it's not just some guy. It's the start of a connection.
Yes, sir.
Love that. And I'll be watching you and keeping an eye on what's going on too. And you can reach out and we can chat anytime. Okay. And 100%. But I think that's great, man. I think it's great that you're on the show. I'm glad that I get to be your first podcast. Hopefully more. We'll actually create this into an actual show. We're going to edit it. We're going to get it all nicely packaged for you. And we're going to send it. We're going to go live where it's going to be on our podcast. So make sure you subscribe. Agent from Within podcast on there. Hold on. Let me just try this. Watch this. I got this ticker here. I'm going to go show. Watch this. I'll show you where the link is. Look at that.
All right.
Isn't that cool? It's like CNN or something cool. I got Agent from Within podcast. So yeah, just subscribe and you'll start seeing your own come through there and we'll send you some information. But we'll do it nicely for you. But awesome, man. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure. Take care. Look forward to connecting in the future.
Sounds good, man. You have a good one.
You too.
We'll see ya.